Christmas Eve. Fiddlestick.
Miss Terry received a box with a letter that had the image of a Christmas angel. Nora, the maid, received the box and put it in the room where the fireplace was, and Miss Terry next to it. So Nora asked for permission to go out to the street to see the Christmas decorations and listen to some Christmas carols. Miss Terry told her it was a waste of time, that Christmas was a total farce of hypocritical people going around wishing Merry Christmas and smiling cheekily, but in the end Miss Terry gave her permission to leave. That way Miss Terry, being home alone, opened the box to see what it contained. They were old toys from when she was a child. Her brother Tom and she used to play with them. What a rubbish, she thought, and prepared to burn them one for one in the fireplace, but at that moment he came up with an experiment with those unusable toys and verify that Christmas was a total junk. Miss Terry looks out the window, sees that the street is alone, there is snow on the street, there are Christmas decorations in the houses, candles and lights on the facades. She returns inside next to the box and the first thing she takes out of it is a jack-in-the-box toy. She throws it in the middle of the sidewalk and stays near her window to see what happens with the toy. Two Jewish children pass by it and the youngest approaches quickly to pick it up and the two begin to fight for the toy. They leave the place even fighting for the jack-in-the-box toy, and Miss Terry from his window seems satisfied with the result. For her it is one more proof that Christmas is nothing more than bullshit. The next toy was a dog, dirty, old and tailless, smiling as if he wanted to give some kind of hope, giving the idea that everything is okay. Miss Terry thinks that it definitively couldn't have any Christmas spirit, so she throws it towards the sidewalk, and a man with a well-bred countenance, with a fur coat, a gentleman's hat, and a cane approaches. He sees the dog and moves it with his cane. On the other side of the street a young woman is walking with her son in hand, and the child watches closely what the man does with the toy. The man throws the dog with his cane when a car was passing. Apparently that was the end of the Flanton dog. Miss Terry was satisfied with the result. The next toy was a Noah's Ark. Inside it, there were animals and Noah himself. Miss Terry went for more wood for the fireplace, and as she couldn't throw the ark towards the sidewalk because it would collapse, she put on a shawl to go outside and leave the ark in the doorstep place. She returned inside, a crowd passed but no one saw the ark, then a couple with two children passed by but they didn't see the ark either. Miss Terry began to despair because nothing happened, until finally a woman dressed in black passed looking down at the ground. She saw the toy and picked it up. Next to her a woman with a poor countenance with two children approached to see if she could give the toy to her children, but the woman in black refused. They walked, and the poor woman kept insisting, but the woman in black claimed that it was hers, that she had found it first. They left the place and Miss Terry told herself that this was the true spirit of Christmas, people fighting for things that are not even theirs. After what happened, she took out another toy. It was an old and dirty doll called Miranda. Miss Terry remembered it perfectly. She didn't want to burn it, so she wrapped it in paper and took it out to the street near her house to see what happened with the doll. A couple of choristers passed but didn't notice the package, and then a girl about 10 years passed, picked it up and felt it to see what it was. She realized it was a doll. The girl thought she should return it to the owner, since the toy was on the doorstep and the owner probably dropped it when he was about to enter his house. She turned to both sides to see if anyone saw her. As no one was close, she ran away with the doll. So Miss Terry confirmed her theories about Christmas and that thief children like that girl make Christmas even more unpleasant. Without hesitation she decided to burn the other toys. So she was burning the old toys one by one. When she was almost done with everyone, she found a Christmas angel and it brought her old memories about 50 years ago when she was a child. It was a day before Christmas. She and her brother Tom were fighting for the stocking fillers when her mom arrived and told them to put the Christmas angel on top of the tree. Both wanted to place it. Tom brought a step ladder and carefully climbed up and placed the angel on top of the tree. It seemed that Tom was going to fall to the ground, but it was not so. Tom declared that the angel would protect him from any danger since it was Christmas. Thanks to that memory, Miss Terry didn't want to burn the angel, but she didn't want to have it close either. So she took it out to the street near her house like the other toys to see what happened to it. A drunk man passed, looked at the angel lying on the floor, picked it up and kicked it up, saying he should go back to heaven. So Miss Terry went for him, thinking that burning him would be better than the simple fact of being kicked. She found it and returned home, but for some good reason she couldn't throw it into the fire, so she put it aside and finished burning the other toys. When she finished, she felt a little tired and sat in an armchair. She closed her eyes for a moment, and when she opened them she stared at the Christmas angel. So she said to herself, "I'll burn it tomorrow." Miss Terry heard noise outside her house, and in the window where she had seen the toys on the street, a bright light appeared. It was the Christmas angel. She could not believe it. The angel asked Miss Terry if she remembered the day in which she and her brother Tom had placed him in that Christmas tree when she was a child, dreamy, full of life, happy and joyful at Christmas Eve. The angel told her that she had stopped believing in the Christmas spirit a long time ago, and that he knew what she had done with the toys. He knew the test she had done to verify that her judgments about Christmas were correct. But the angel also told her that she had only seen the first page of each story and invited her to see the rest. The room where they were both began to fade and appeared in a large theater facing the stage. The first what they saw was the two Jewish children who had found the Jack-in-the-Box toy. They were still fighting sharply for the toy. A policeman saw them and approached them. They ran. The older boy had the toy. They arrived to a darker corner, and there the younger boy managed to take the toy away. They were still fighting for the toy. This time the younger boy with a more aggressive attitude, as if the toy was everything for him in life. Soon they arrived home. An old, small and warm house. There were more children of their age and a woman with a sick appearance on a sewing machine. Then, another little boy lying on a bed asked them what they had in hand, if it was a gift for him. The children told him that they had found it on the street, and the boy lying down told them that surely Santa Claus had placed it there so they could pick it up, because there was no fireplace in their house. So the children handed the Jack-in-the-Box toy to their younger brother, and the mother, witnessing all this, began to cry. The scene began to fade, and the angel told Miss Terry that that is what had really happened with the Jack-in-the-Box toy. Then the angel invited her to see what had happened with the Flanton dog that had been crushed. The boy who saw the dog being run over began to cry. The mother didn't notice the incident and told him to shut up, to be quiet while she could fix an issue in the friend's house. It won't take long. Then the child went to pick up the toy, and the man who had thrown it with his cane, smoking a cigarette, noticed it. From afar the man told the child to get a new toy, since the Flanton dog was disfigured. At that moment the same car that had run over the toy was coming back. The man with the cane didn't have time to think, and immediately he rushed to save the boy who was absorbed in his world, sad for the destroyed toy. The man was thrown by the vehicle. The next scene is the well-bred man in a house with a broken leg, in great pain, the mother apologizing and the child feeling sad and guilty for what had happened to the man. The man told him not to be sad, that he had to feel happy for saving the Flanton dog. Back with Miss Terry and the angel, Miss Terry also felt guilty about the accident, but the Christmas angel told him that that wasn't a problem. Thanks to that, the man was able to perform a good deed by rescuing the boy, and the boy had found a friend to rely on, and besides, the boy could be happy thanks to the toy he rescued, which even destroyed he appreciated it very much. Then, they saw what had happened with Noah's Ark. The woman with the two children still followed the woman in black to see if she gave the toy to her children, since they wanted it very much. She refused and said no. What they didn't know is that the woman was a widow and that she had recently lost her son. That's why she hated children, especially when children were happy. In fact, she hated Christmas. She was embittered as Miss Terry. A few meters later she bumped into some choristers who sang beautiful Christmas songs. The lady in black stopped to listen to those beautiful choirs, holding the Noah's Ark in her arms. She only contemplated the beautiful song that spoke about that child, that special child. Immediately the lady with the two children behind her began to sing along with the choir, and together they sang beautiful stanzas of Christmas songs. So the lady in black approached the children and handed them the ark. She asked the mother if she had a plan that night to celebrate Christmas with her children, but she said no. Her husband had passed away a month ago, so the woman in black, without even thinking, invited them to her house to spend Christmas. She told them that it looked like an angel had left the ark lying there so they could spend a beautiful Christmas together. Tears came out of Miss Terry's eyes, and the angel told her that everything had been thanks to her. After this they saw what had happened with Miranda, the doll. The girl who had stolen her was named Mary. Mary ran until she got breathless. She had reached a part of town that she didn't know much. Watching the doll, she imagined all the possible ways she could dress her and get rid of those old-fashioned and worn-out clothes. When she arrived at her house, she saw her uncles at the table with some guests and tried to sneak out to his room so that no one could see her, because her uncles had sold all her toys and she knew that if they saw her with the doll they would do the same. But her uncles saw her. Her uncle approached her by taking her the doll off and saying that maybe they could get some money by selling the doll and get more drinks. But the uncle saw her for a few seconds and handed her back to Mary. Apparently the doll was already very old and nobody would give a penny for her. Mary went to her room feeling a little sad about what her uncle said and believing that the doll wasn't really worth a penny. It would have been better to return it to the owner or just leave it where it was. She watched the doll for a few moments and realized what beautiful her eyes were. She began to undress her and saw that on his neck she had a necklace with an inscription that said the name of the owner, Angelina Terry, and the address of where she lived in case the doll was ever lost. Many thoughts came to Mary's mind, such as that little girl called Angelina didn't love the doll, and she probably gave up on her because she has many more dolls in better condition and many more toys. So Mary decided to love her and give her a good handling. But that night she couldn't sleep, so she told the doll that she would return her the next day so she could spend Christmas with her real mother. Miss Terry thought that the girl was not a thief after all, and in fact she looked a lot like her when she was a child. The angel invited her to see what happened with her last experiment, that is, him. Miss Terry saw herself picking up the angel from the street and taking him back home. Immediately she saw what happened to the drunk man who had kicked the Christmas angel. The man continued wobbling until he reached a street where there were celebrations. He didn't want to go through the people, so he came back where he came from. In his drunkenness, he saw pilgrims singing carols and thought about joining them, only that when he was going to do it they had vanished. At that moment he remembered the angel he had kicked a few minutes ago and went to the place where he had kicked it, only that he found the silhouette of the angel in the snow. The man knew that he shouldn't have treated a celestial being in that way. He realized that the angel had taken care of him despite what he did, so he decided to stop drinking alcohol and spend Christmas totally sober. He would soon hear the pilgrims sing again and join them. Miss Terry heard that somebody was knocking the door. It was probably the maid, so she told her to come in. Nora was surprised because Miss Terry hadn't burned the angel. Miss Terry asked her if there were still candles burning in the houses. The maid replied that it was not her intention to arrive so late. The Christmas decorations, the carols and everything else was beautiful. So Miss Terry decided to put the Christmas angel in the window of her house with a candle so that the Christmas spirit could bless the whole town and anyone who saw the angel. On the other side of the street was a man standing looking towards Miss Terry's house, assuming that in vain it had been the letter he sent to his sister. But he noticed the Christmas angel and remembered that it was the same he and his sister Angelina used to place on Christmas trees when they were children. The maid noticed the decoration in the window and told Miss Terry it looked very pretty. Someone knocked on the door. It was Miss Terry's brother, Tom. With surprise, Miss Terry told him that he had finally decided to come. Tom told her he was not going, but when he saw the decoration in the window with the angel had given him courage to show up. Miss Terry told him that this angel was not only the Christmas angel, he was a guardian angel and had made them both meet again. She told Nora to go buy something to celebrate that night. It wasn't too late, and also buy some toys for a 10-year-old girl with blonde hair and blue eyes because the next day they would have a special guest, it is to say, Mary. The next day Miss Terry and her brother Tom were having lunch. Someone knocked on the door and Miss Terry told the maid to open. If it was a little girl with a package she would let her in. The maid thought no child in his life would come to Miss Terry's house. When the maid returned to the dining room, a girl with blue eyes and blonde hair accompanied her. A little bit ashamed, Mary told them she had come to return Miranda to Angelina. Terry told them she had taken her home and she planned to keep her. Miss Terry told her that she was Angelina and asked her what she thought about keeping the doll. Mary was surprised because she thought Angelina was a girl and not an old woman like Miss Terry. So Tom and Miss Terry invited the girl to spend Christmas with them. They asked her if her family wouldn't mind, so Mary began telling them about her life. She was an orphan and her uncles decided to adopt her just because they didn't have another option. So Miss Terry and Tom decided to adopt her. Tom told little Mary that he would go to talk to her uncles to let her live with them definitively. Miss Terry showed her the toys she had bought for her and also showed her the decoration she had made in the window with the Christmas angel. She told her she should love him, because this angel was in charge of bringing blessings and joy to her home. So next to the Christmas angel, Tom covered with his coat to Angelina, Mary and himself, all three together beaming.